My best friend moved out to California last year. I haven't seen her in a year and a half, so I finally decided to go pay her a visit after my graduation. She picked me up from the airport, we got tuna poke-filled burritos from Bear Flag Fish, and headed to the beach with seltzers in hand. We chatted about our lives and caught up on each other's over a sunset and bonfire at Huntington Beach. The colors of the sky were so beautiful. The birds added to the scene, and we talked until the sky slowly turned black and the stars started to twinkle. That night, last minute, we decided we'd drive up to PCH. We scrambled to pack up everything we needed, food for the road, pillows, clothes, and tried to find places to stay overnight along the way. We packed up our electric scooters to use along the way, and they were just so helpful at saving us time and money, and they were also just so fun to ride on. The next day, we headed to San Diego and hiked around the seaside. We hiked the Sunset Cliffs, and the water was just so beautiful. People were surfing, a guy was fishing, there was dolphins jumping, and we even saw some sharks swimming along the shore. We then rode our electric scooters around Balboa Park. And of course, we couldn't leave San Diego without seeing the unconditional surrender statue kiss. We ended the night with another beautiful sunset at the beach. Kids were running around happily, and families just enjoying being together and living life. The first day, we drove through Malibu and Santa Monica. It was magical. We walked down to Little Beach for a while where we enjoyed watching the crashing waves and the seagulls flying up above. Afterwards, we drove to Santa Barbara. Along the road were beautiful strawberry fields, and I just couldn't resist. We stopped and I bought a pound of the most delicious, juicy, and red strawberries in the whole wide world. We arrived into the city fairly early. We got on our scooters and rode to the Old Mission, which was pretty with its pink accents and rose gardens. We visited the pretty and Spanish-style county courthouse, where we got a view of the entire city. Afterwards, we got a little drunky on margaritas, and then we just chilled on the beach. We stayed overnight right outside the city in a yurt on an avocado farm. We got up nice and early and took a small detour to the small little Danish town called Solvang. It was so worth it. It's a quaint and quiet little colorful town filled with delicious pastries, bread, and windmills. There were so many flowers and cute cottages that filled the town. We then arrived to the quiet and bustling Morro Bay, filled with seals, otters, and fishermen. And then our drive continued as we slowly ventured through California and entered the Big Sur area. The landscape was changing from dry and rocky mountainous areas to lush and green, filled with tall trees. This part of the coast was just too beautiful. I couldn't stop looking out the window, and I wanted to stop around every corner. I really wish we had more time in this area. If I could, I would spend a few days in this area camping and hiking and staring at the waves crash into the cliffs. With the greenery all around us and the looming tall trees, we felt an overwhelming sense of peace. One of the last memorable spots around the Big Sur was the beautiful waterfall that cascaded into the ocean below. After our lovely drive through the Big Sur, we booked it for Santa Cruz. We had a sunset cruise to catch. We parked and ran right out of the car and sprinted to the boat with a minute to spare. The boat ride was not at all what we expected. We were there during peak season of migration of these Australian birds, and soon they began to swarm all around us, blocking the view of the sky. We were absolutely surrounded. It felt so surreal. That night, we drove up a little bit further north and arrived to our next location for the night. It was the cutest little pink RV that served as our Airbnb. We enjoyed a campfire with baked potatoes and sausages with a couple we had just met that were staying at a nearby Airbnb. We took some outdoor showers and crashed for the night. The next morning, we enjoyed a lovely cup of warm coffee as the sun rose above the foggy hills. We sped through Golden Gate Park on our scooters and took some photos of the Golden Gate Bridge before we drove over it. We couldn't believe it. We already made it this far already in our drive, and we were so excited to arrive into wine country. Here we stayed near Santa Rosa with some friends and enjoyed some much needed crisp champagne and a wine tasting at another vineyard. But we couldn't stay too long, and we woke up super early the next day and began our long drive back. On the way back, we enjoyed the foggy sunrise as we passed over the Golden Gate Bridge one last time and watched the rest of the sunrise on the beach in our PJs. We enjoyed our drive up the PCH too much, so we decided to take Highway 1 once again, all the way back, even though it added a few extra hours to our drive. Afterwards, we arrived in the quiet and quaint city of Carmel by the sea on a misty summer morning. It was so cozy, and I wish we could have stayed here longer with a warm cup of tea, a book, and the mist. It was such a fairy tale coastal town. This cozy little town was filled with beautiful cottages surrounded by colorful gardens. It was so peaceful and serene.